Well, I hope you're all nice and warm because I'm out here on a very, very cold day. Behind me, beautiful Hertfordshire countryside. You know, I am only kidding. I literally wouldn't rather be anywhere else in the world. Absolutely stunning out here today. The conditions are great. Overcast, okay, it's really, really cold, so the bites might be quite hard to come by, but actually beautifully overcast, freezing cold, and I'm hitting a fairly sort of like densely wooded area where there's lots and lots of structure in the water, and we're fishing that classic winter method. We're fishing with cheese paste, and we're going to go and try and catch some chub. Right, I quite like the look of this one. Drop in here. This looks like a 10-minuter. Decide whether it's a 10, a 5, 10 or 15 minute, depending on how chubby it looks. Right, there's quite a nice feature on the far bank there. Let's swing this out there and see if we can get something. As easy as that. Come on, let's have a chub. Right, no, let's keep moving. Look at these, getting some really nice cover down here now. There's about 3 spots to try in this swim, I would say. This is the first. Right, this looks nice and sketchy. But there's a tree there that just has to get fished. All these swims look so good. They all look like they should hold fish. Yeah, this one is a classic. Could be a 20-minuter, this one. Right, come on. Let's try and catch a chub. Come on. There we are. It's amazing in January and February how the bites change. They really are quite delicate, some of these tiny little knocks. Very, very sensitive. Good to have a sensitive tip, a lighter line and the rest of it. You know, you get away with it before Christmas, but come January or February, you know, you have to apply a little bit more finesse, I think. And those little bites, I'm hitting everything. Whereas I might not be hitting those little twitches when it's milder. When it's cold, the bites can be really quite delicate. Another incredibly attractive looking chub swim. I think I've said that about every swim so far. But this one does, looks good. There we go. That's gotta be the one. There we go. Just on the tip of that tree. It's gotta be the one. So a little bit annoying, but I must have done at least 10 swims now without a bite. Struggling to find them. I kind of knew it was going to be like this given how cold it is, but we will keep going, hopefully we'll find one. So I'm sitting here just waiting for this tip to go around, praying that it does. And what inspired me actually to come and do this was that I actually earlier in the week went to do a video up on the Severn. You know, I wanted to go there, and even though it was bitterly cold, I wanted to catch a barbel from the Severn. And I don't mind telling that I failed. I was only there a couple of hours before the heavens opened, loads of rain, and we couldn't film in the rain. And so that was that, but not before I caught a chub. So I did get my first chub from the Severn, and that kind of inspired me to do this. As soon as I got back home on the local rivers, knock up some cheese paste and come and fish for some chub. And to be fair, they are a lot more obliging than the barbel at this time of year. If there is a fish you can rely on when it gets really, really cold, it's got to be the chub. No. Got to come across one sooner or later, right? So there's really nice bit of cover down to my right, and it's slackened off nicely. Lots of cover here, look. Let's see if we can pick up a chub. There's a bit less flow here, and it's shallower, and so I'm opting for a little Touch Ledger weight, which is the equivalent to 2 SSG. And I'm using that instead of the little lead I was using. First time I've had any indication of anything. That looks like it's going to go. What that is little chublets. A little bit hard to tell. I've got a fish on. Great, just what we're after. I had to walk quite a long way to find this. Oh, look at the rod. Classic. Oh, we've worked for this. Going for the near bank, as they do. And it looks like a nice fish. There we go. Just saw the tip go round. Here he comes, here he comes. Superb, and it's in. Yes. Fantastic. Having leapfrogged lots of different swims, there we are, a lovely chub on a little link ledger, which I'll show you in a bit. But yeah, probably a dozen swims, 10 or 15 minutes in each. And eventually I found one. Now I've just flicked the rod back out because where there's one fish, there could be another. I've put it in exactly the same spot, but still I'm only going to give it 15 or 20 minutes and I'm going to move on. Let's have a very quick run through what I'm actually using today. What it feels like as you get into winter. These bites are way more delicate, you know, before Christmas, on the run up to Christmas when it wasn't quite so cold, you know, the tip would wang round. Those lovely days seem to have gone, and now what seems to always happen as you get into January and February, those bites are way more delicate, and so you know, I lighten up all the tackle a little bit. In terms of a rod, I've got a 12-foot rod, and it's got a quiver tip on it, so a nice light tip to pick up those sensitive bites. On the main line, I would go for anything between sort of 6 to 8 pounds. I would say be sensible, err on the side of caution in terms of strength. You know, we are fishing up against snags, and therefore I'll tend more to go towards 8 pound line. And the rig that I'm fishing is a fairly standard link ledger rig. On the main line there, I've got an O-ring, and I've got, you know, like your classic sort of like weak link there with a small lead. Now, you might see there that I've got the Touch Ledger. Now, that's not really designed to fish static in this way, but it does work really well, I've found. If you cast out into the current with this, because it's only the equivalent of 2 SSG and it's got a bit of air in it, you can actually cast past a snag and let it drift underneath, and then it will just settle where it wants to settle. So I'm finding that works really well on a weak link. I am sometimes putting on a slightly heavier weight if I wanted to fish the far bank. Below that, a quick change bead, and then I've got a hook length that's probably about 1.5 foot. So in this case, it's 8 pounds again, same as the main line, but I do know that it will break sooner than the main line because it has got a lower diameter. A nice big hook, size 4, size 6. Sometimes people use a hook that's got a too heavy a gauge. These big hooks, they tend to have a very thick gauge. I find the all-rounders are perfect for this because whilst they're a big hook, they haven't got a really thick wire to them, you know. Then a short hair, and something that's absolutely key, and this cheese paste wouldn't stay on without it, is a tiny little meat screw on a very, very short hair. What I would say is with the cheese paste, it's not any special concoction. It's about 30% blue cheese, 30% cheddar, and then is actually just short crust pastry. I might add to it some garlic granules and some paprika, but whether that makes a difference or not, I'm not really sure. If it feels too hard, then add some margarine or add some oil. That will soften it up a bit. But as soon as it's in that cold water, it might feel too soft, but as soon as it's in the cold water, it actually hardens up. And yeah, I like to hook it just like that, wrapped around that bait screw, showing just the tip of the hook is out of the bait there. And that's exactly how I fish it. So a beautifully simple way to fish. It couldn't get any easier, really. I'm not putting in any free offerings. There's my ball of cheese paste. I brought a couple of these with me. No other bait at all. Not baiting up with anything. And just literally putting it in some likely looking spots. And yeah, just hitting as many different parts of the river as I can. I know I've mentioned it, but getting up against this structure, or even better, slightly underneath it, is absolutely critical. And whether you use one of these little touch ledgers or a couple of SSG shot, or however you do it, yeah, try and cast out so it's landing just before the tree, and then have just enough weight to, you know, for it to carry on underneath the tree a little bit and settle underneath the structure. All these swims look so chubby. They look perfect. Just wish someone would tell the chub. Right, yet another swim. It's done about 15 or 20 swims now, I would say. Again, this one looks good. I'm not even going to put a bank stick in. That can be my rod rest on this one. Right. Yeah, this is a 15-minute, I reckon. Looks pretty damn good, I would say. And here we are, look, we can just get it underneath this branch here and then let the flow take it right under the canopy. That is perfect. Come on. I was using a rod rest at first, I promise. It's not very professional, is it? But I'm not even letting the rod go. As soon as I see that tip, I love fishing like this. You get mesmerised by the tip of the rod, don't you? Couple of little taps on the tip there. Might be small chublets, I think. But you can never tell. Like I say, in winter, those little taps, sometimes they can be big fish. I only need half a rack round and I'm hitting it. That's that good one. Oh, yes. Oh. Took me completely by surprise. I was just about to move then. And the rod wanged round. Absolutely superb. You need to be a bit careful it doesn't find any snags, because we haven't got a lot of space here, but we have got a fish on. Oh yes, beautiful bronze looking fish. Big unmistakable mouth. Come on. Oh, very pleased. Not fished along this stretch for chub before. And absolutely chuffed. Having to work really hard for them, but we are getting them. And there's another. Yes! So we are having to work for them. Dozens of swims I've hit now. And just like the last fish, when you do land on them, you get them quite quick. So, you know, the rod had only been in the water sort of like 5 minutes or so then. Whoa. I'm going to pop him back, keep leapfrogging these swims, and we'll see if we can get some more. I did have another go in that swim after that fish, because sometimes where there's one, there's another. But not this time, so we keep going. Let me show you how I'm fishing that little bad boy. To be fair, that wouldn't be perfect. That weight wouldn't be perfect in every single swim, but it's in a lot of them along here. Let me see if I can show you without putting my rod up a tree. What is good about these is that you can cast it in the main flow and then just kind of let the flow take it down underneath the tree. Now, a tree on the near bank is absolutely perfect for this little weight that I've got here. If I see a near bank snag that I can sort of go under, then this little Touch Ledger along this stretch with the pace that it is at the moment is absolutely perfect. If I'm wanting to explore some of the snags that are on the far bank, then it's not enough weight. I need to put a little bit more weight on. These Touch Ledgers, they're only the equivalent of 2 SSG shots. So, you know, if I'm wanting it to come off the flow and onto that crease from the main flow to the near bank, if I want it to kind of settle there underneath the tree, absolutely perfect. And there's plenty of those sort of opportunities along here. Like I say, if I'm wanting to fish in the flow or over towards the far bank, naturally I'm going to have to increase the weight. Look at that, it's all about the tip, isn't it? Just waiting for that tip to go round. Go on. I'm not staying in a swim any longer than sort of like 10 or 15 minutes. I realise that's not very long. If a swim looks really, really good, then I might give it 20 minutes. But what I've found, to be honest, is the swims that look really good to us don't always look great for the chub. So yeah, generally speaking, on average, maybe 15 minutes in each swim. The bites I've had today off the chub that I have had have come within 5 minutes of being in a swim. So I think this is a better way of doing it. It's just move as much as you can and just try and land on one, you know. Right, this looks perfect here. We're not fishing an overhanging tree this time. We've got these sort of like bent over dying reeds in the edge here that chub love. So we're fishing along the front of those. You can be sure as soon as I hook one, it's going to try and dive in those, isn't it? They are such dirty fighters. But yeah, quite an alternative that is, like dying reeds along the edge, but all folded over like that. Another great holding spot. So this swim looks absolutely perfect. Again, got lots and lots of structure in the water. I'm really having to work for it today. It's not been easy. I'm having a hard session, but you know, sort of managing my expectations a bit. It is February, it is really, really cold. And yeah, I feel like I'm just trying to get 1 or 2 bites here. And you know, you just never know. One of those bites might be a very special fish. So whilst it would be easy to stay at home with a nice cup of cocoa, it is worth getting out, I think. It's a very cold day, but the opportunities are there. And like they say, you can't catch them at home. So bites have dried up a bit here. I'm going to start heading back, hitting a few swims before I call it a day, I think. I had a knock not long after it had been in the water. Oh, yeah, it's got a bit of chub, look, near bank. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Fantastic. Good old cheese paste. Rod wanged round. No rod rest, I just put the rod on the floor. Smashing. Yes! Yes, yes, yes. Well, this is what winter is all about. That is freezing cold, that chub. And what a cracker. Caught on very simple methods. Big lump of cheese, big hook, under a bush, rod on the floor. Tip went round and we got this beauty. As with a lot of my fishing, what appeals to me about this method is how simple it is. You know, tie up a little link ledger, make up some cheese paste, very simple to make, and literally 1 ball of cheese, 1 rod, small bag, get out on the river, stay mobile, hit lots of swims, stay nice and warm, and I hope it catches you some chub.